Somerset ensured that their qualification for this season's Yorkshire YB40 semi-finals will go down to their last game after Peter Trigo's sensational century led them to a 3-wicket win with 5 balls to spare against Yorkshire in Taunton. Having been put into bat by the Group C leaders, Yorkshire made a solid start through Andrew Gale and Dan Hodgson. They stroked some early boundaries in what was a must-win game for the home side, this being their penultimate match in a very tight group, which had 3 sides on the same number of points at the start of this contest. Both Yorkshire openers fell in quick succession. On 17, Gale came down the pitch to Adam Dibble but couldn't clear Jamie Overton at mid-off, while Hodgson on 14 lobbed a simple catch off a poorly timed shot of Alfonso Thomas, which was easily held again by Overton. So after 7 overs, the Vikings had a score of 39 for 2 on the board, but as in their last match against the Unicorns, those early wickets didn't really affect them too much. With Gary balanced with the England Lions, it was Adam Lyth who got things moving in the right direction this time with Alex Lees. Lees too will be joining the Lions next week, and the relative newcomer again looked in fantastic form as these two began to build a serious partnership. Both made 50s, Lees reached his second in 2 games off 51 balls, while Lyth's 7th 4 took him to his off his 48th delivery. This was not exactly what Somerset would have been hoping for in front of another sizable home crowd. The partnership between these two left-handers was worth 118 in 19.5 overs, with Lees impressing again with 62, which was made off 66 balls. Somerset needed him out, and it was left to Thomas to do that with a quicker ball fired in at the base of the batsman's off stump. Thomas was then replaced by Max Waller, who immediately removed Lyth for 58, Thomas being searched out in the deep. That left Yorkshire on 164 for 4 in the 29th over, but Jack Leaning then produced easily the best innings of his fledgling career. It included this 6 off Waller as the 200 was brought up in the 33rd over. But 3 wickets in 10 balls then set Yorkshire back. Azim Rafiq chipped a full bunger from Thomas to Trigo. Ryan Gibson had his stumps rearranged by Dibble, who then also had Rich Pyra taken behind by Joss Butler with a short ball in the same over to leave Yorkshire on 216 for 7 with 5 overs to go. They then finished their innings off strongly. Leaning excelled by getting to a maiden one-day half-century off 42 balls and then throwing the bat at everything before he was out for 60 to give Dibble a 4th wicket, the first time that he's achieved that. Ian Wardlaw began the final over with this 6 and a 4, and that helped his side to a challenging 261 for 8 from their 40 overs, a total Somerset simply had to chase down. Marcus Trescothick showed his intent in the 3rd over by flat-batting Wardlaw over the ropes, but next ball he mistimed a drive and found Lees at mid-off. But that brought in Trigo to join Craig Keyswetter, 2 players who've been in fine form with the bat of late in the shorter forms of cricket, and they were soon emphasising that with 3 sixes being struck in the space of 9 balls as their side got off to the necessary flyer. Trigo has had a wonderful Yorkshire YB40 season and has scored more runs than anyone else in this year's competition. He soon passed 600 runs in his 11th innings and was gunning for many more as he and Keyswetter brought up the 100 in the 15th over, which should have made the run-in to the winning line a fairly comfortable one. By then, Trigo had got beyond another 50, the 7th time he'd managed to do that this summer. That was his 8th 4 from the 33 balls he'd faced. It was just the kind of innings that his side wanted from him. Keyswetter for once wasn't able to match him with a 50. On 40, he clubbed Gibson to Leaning at mid-off after putting on 103 runs with Trigo in 14 entertaining overs. At the halfway stage, the score read 129 for 2, leaving a further 133 to get for the next 20, and Alvaro Peterson then tucked into Gibson with 2 successive 6s, before he added a 3rd off Lyth to leave 97 to get from the final 15. And with Trigo finding the gaps and 4s when they were needed as he neared his second 100 of this year's tournament, that target was reduced to just 65 from the last 10 overs. With 8 wickets in hand, that should have been a canter. It wasn't quite that after Peterson on 51 and Butler went in successive balls from Pyra, which left Somerset 4 down with 209 runs on the board. Trigo was still there, however, and this nudged along on took him to his outstanding 100, which had been made off 85 balls with 13 fours and 1 6. He now needed to finish the job off. He added 28 with James Hildreth, who was out for 11, just as our camera was hit by some gremlins. Craig Macheda then drilled Moen Ashraf to mid-wicket with only 9 needed. Just 4 were wanted off the last 8 balls when Thomas was bowled, but the terrific Trigo had the strike for the last over, and he found the rope for the 19th time to the first ball before setting off for his celebration, his job being done quite brilliantly. He ended on a scintillating 140 off just 103 balls to take his side home by 3 wickets with 5 balls to spare. It wasn't quite a solo effort, but it wasn't far off, as he made sure that Somerset stayed top of the group ahead of their crucial West Country derby in Bristol on Bank Holiday Monday. They may not still be top by then, but they will know that a win against the Gloucesters should be enough to take them through to the semis.